Hello and welcome everyone to our weekly harvest event. Now this will be public on the Crypto Garden channel once a month and every week on the private the Crypto Garden Discord server. Okay, so if you want to sign up for the Crypto Garden, you can just head out to thecryptogarden.io and have access to all the past ones and all the future ones. All right, so let's dive right into it. Now, as I've been saying, all that I'm doing right now with the market is DCA into Bitcoin, and that's about it. And that's all that I recommend. Okay. Now, let's look at our predictions from last week. Okay. Most of you guys don't have access to it, but nonetheless, I'm going to give to you all the predictions that I made last week. So last week we talked about Bitcoin going up to maximum like 41K, 40K, 500, probably being around 40K. Okay, and it did, and then dumping down all the way down to at least 35 to 50. Okay, and I mean, this is pretty much exactly what happened. Okay, so this is, I think, 4 weeks in a row right now that I nailed this predictions, basically within 1%. Okay, so I'm gonna give myself a big trophy. Now let's look a little bit about our predictions on altcoins from the past week. Okay, so last week we looked at near. Let's look at near, and I said that near would go to probably around $13 and then head back down, and it's basically at the level that I said last week. So I'm gonna give myself a big trophy on that one too. FTM. Let's look at FTM. Same stuff. Unfortunately, I thought it would make like a new low here. It didn't, so I would give myself like a small trophy for this one. And we looked at ZIL too. Let's look at ZIL. I thought it would dump down further. It didn't, and it went up a little bit more than I thought, so I'm not going to give myself a trophy on this one. And then we looked at Kusama. So let's look at Kusama. Here it is. And yeah, also basically nailed this one, right to the point. So I'm going to give myself another big trophy for it. Okay, so these were our predictions from the last week. Now let's make new predictions on a bunch of different altcoins. Okay, so on Bitcoin, what I'm seeing is just, we have dumped down below these lows here, and we're almost hitting these lows here. But even though we have some really bad looking technicals, okay, we have the whole moving average crossing down from the 200-day whole moving average. We have the RSI, dispersion zone here trending down. We have the RSI below this EMA here. We have the OBV making a new downtrend, okay, changing the color of the moving average. And these are all scripts that I've coded, so, and they are open source, of course. So I mean, I think the OBV is now in a downtrend. We have volatility like floored, meaning that we don't have any upward pressure. We do have one small sign of hope that I think will feel maybe a small relief rally this week, which is that the RSI here, it's just touching this lower band here. And usually when it does, it keeps grinding down, so I don't think this is the end of the downtrend, but at least it, goes sideways for a bit. The bleeding stops for a little while, okay? And if we look at sentiment, we'll see that even though long-short ratio is quite high, okay, it is really high after all the deleveraging that we saw here. So basically $51 million liquidated in just under 4 hours. Even though we are seeing that, it is, trending down a little bit. And I think that during the week, we'll see it trend down a little bit more, okay? And we have seen a lot of long liquidation, so long liquidity is basically exhausted right now. And if we look at the liquidation map, we'll see a big, cluster here at 38, 39K. And after that, of course, little to no liquidity and a lot more liquidity around the current price. So down until around 30K. It's where the most liquidity is at. Okay, so as I mentioned on Ryan's video last Friday, I think, I think we're going to head up a little bit because we have exhausted the downside liquidity right now and we need to build it up again. So I think we'll liquidate this little cluster here. Maybe we go until 38,500 and then we head back down. Okay. So I would think that we'll do something like this. We'll go, during the week, maybe we revisit these lows, then we head up to around 38 and then 37, 38, and then we head back down. Okay, maybe we even make a new low. Okay, so this is what I think. Of course, this is a very, very simplified prediction. This is not correct in time frame. Of course, I don't think this will take, basically a full month. This is just to make you understand the idea that I'm putting out better. Okay, now let's look at some altcoins, shall we? Just give me a second to cross out some things in my notebook. Let's look at altcoins. So the altcoins that I wanted to look at today, first Atom, because a subscriber asked me to look at Atom, and so I'm gonna do it. Let me just delete all these drawings, and we can see that Atom has been, in a pretty weird trend. So basically, throughout the end of 2021 until the start of 2022, we have seen it basically go sideways, okay, within this, not small, like this is a big range, but relatively small range compared to the trend that it has formed on the past. Now, I think Atom will for sure continue its downtrend, but the one thing I think is that with Bitcoin having a relief rally, it might have a relief rally too. Because on technicals, it is, looking very bad right now. And even though it is looking very bad, I think if Bitcoin has a relief rally, then it might have a relief rally too. Now let's look at the long short ratio chart just to look at some, fear and greed. Oh, this is the wrong chart. It is Atom USDT. Perp. Yeah, this is the one. Now, the long-short ratio for Atom is really, really high, okay? So this means usually that the upward pressure is lower, okay? So what I think we would see is a move up, not as strong as Bitcoin's, so not above these highs. Maybe we just retest this whole moving average, this range around here, at around $17, and then we're going to head back down. Okay, and yeah, this is what I think. I don't like, again, I don't like using liquidation map on altcoins because they are lower volume, and so the liquidation map offers us very little data. Okay, now let's look at curve just to see, something different. We'll see that, it is trending, a little bit up. Of course, it's, if you see the bigger picture, it's not up too much up, but even besides that, we are seeing some upward trend, okay? Some semblance of an upward trend. And more importantly, we are holding this RSI middle band here, which is usually, a good sign, at least for a little while, okay? So I think we would see something like this. Maybe we trend a little bit higher throughout the week. As Bitcoin trends up, we retest these highs here, and then we come back down because I think the overall market is looking bearish, and so it will push these altcoins too. Next, let's look at sushi, because the last newsletter on the Crypto Garden, we talked a little bit about vampire attacks and how sustainable they are or are not. And so I think it would be nice to look at Sushi's chart just to follow up on that. Okay, so we can see that Sushi has been bleeding. I mean, like more like, I don't know, like an open wound. Okay, it's been bleeding so hard. It has never even come close to the all-time high of $23 ever since March. Okay, and it has had some rallies up, and in all these rallies, people were thinking, Sushi is back on, it's gonna make 100x again. Probably not. Okay, but right now it does look like it's, the downtrend is being exhausted. Okay, so it's becoming slower and slower and slower. So I think maybe for the next week, again, following Bitcoin, it will have a little bit of a trend up. Maybe not as strong, maybe just to around 240 and then head back down. Okay. So yeah. And the final altcoin that I wanted to look at was Near. So let's look at Near because it also trended up a little bit. Okay. And I nailed my prediction on Near last time around. So maybe I can keep this streak too. So we are seeing quite a bullish candle for Near today. Okay, I don't like trading candlesticks too much, but Near is one of the coins that is looking a little bit better than the others, I feel like. We are sitting just around the volume point of control here, and this makes, you know, the next few days really a decision moment. Okay, this makes the next few days decide everything. If we reject this point of control here, you know, I would say we go even lower than this. We could go even lower than this, and obviously not within a week. And if we, you know, manage to hold it as support, maybe we have a little bit of a rally up. We can rally up, I would say, maybe to even $13, something like that. Nonetheless, I think what we will see for the next week as Bitcoin, you know, trends up a little bit, as I think, we'll see it trend up a little bit, maybe to $12, and then come back to test this point of control here. Okay, this is what I think for Near. And yeah, this is it. One other thing is that I wanted to look at some opinions from people in the crypto garden. I asked them just this morning, okay, here in the general chat, what were their opinions for crypto for the next week. And most people are bearish. You know, US stock market is trending down a lot. UST is looking bearish. So if we look at the USD, you'll see that it has lost the peg, you know, and it hasn't been able to recover yet. Okay, so it's about less than a cent, but the depeg nonetheless, and it has experienced a very significant dip down to 0.985. Now, of course, this isn't a lot in percentage wise, but do note that a lot of people are exposed with leverage in UST farms, okay, through Abracadabra degen box. Okay, so this is not a good sign. This means that a lot of people are deleveraging. Okay, and this is an indicator of general sentiment being down. Now, as Aklari said, and I agree with him, we might see a small bounce next week because we are in oversold conditions, but we will be around the current levels, slightly lower with time, okay? Tarkus here says that he's awaiting confirmation himself and that it's all going to rely on the NASDAQ and the stock market in general, okay? We'll either, you know, and I agree with him, I think most people here are thinking about the same thing. When the crypto market bottoms out, we'll probably see something like a major deleveraging in the stock market, and over the next few weeks we will probably, you know, just grind down with time and not form any meaningful highs. Okay, so yeah, I think this is about it. I'm just gonna show you one more chart before we go. This is a chart that I like to watch every single week, which is the age-specific realized price and the short-term holder realized price. We can see its current value is at around 41K, and this is currently, I would say, the strongest resistance for the price, okay? And the strongest support for price, although it might sound a little bit grim, is at around 19K. So do take that into consideration, okay? These are historically the points at which price has got the most support and the most resistance, especially in a bear market. So yeah, that being said, I think this is a good time to end this video, and goodbye.